That's right back, Charlie, definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Because you always used to active and defend it. I think it's like.
One love for tuning back in, people. Deluded, I'm back again. As you know, it's transfer season, people. Again, it's January the 27th. And at the time of making this video, 10:52 in Arsenal AM, and Arsenal still haven't made any new signings. Nonetheless, as we draw to a conclusion of this January transfer window, we hope there's a twist. The new one that the ITKs online have been spinning is that Nuno Tavares completing a permanent transfer to Marseille would give us some finances to play around in the market, even though we've been briefed by all the credible journalists and Mikel Arteta himself that Arsenal are treading very close to FFP and that there is a huge possibility that we make no new signings. Now, whether it would have been a striker, a central midfielder or two, a defensive or a couple of defensive reinforcements or another winger to aid our creative issues and ease the burden on Martinelli and Saka, we don't know where that's being going, people. Speaking about wasting money and finances, I wouldn't quite describe Fabio Vieira as a waste of money. I wouldn't, I think that's a bit disingenuous. I don't expect the club to get every transfer correct, and you know, our hit to miss ratio in recent signings in the last 2 years have been quite good. But if we want to get closer to Liverpool and City, then we kind of need to have an even greater success rate. And again, I'm not asking Edu and Mikel Arteta if signings go wrong. Even the best in the business have done that, and I'm being a bit harsh and probably adding no context. But where you look at 65 million on Kai Havertz, 30 odd on the man we're about to get to in Fabio Vieira, 20 million on Kirill, whether you rate him or not, he's not exactly a reliable option, whether he needs to run the games. You're looking at around 100 odd million quid on these sort of players, and then where you put Eddie and Nketiah, Reece Nelson and Cedric on big wages, allegedly probably makes it more difficult to get them off there, get them out of the club, and ultimately, you know, allow us to maneuver in the market. Fabio Vieira is on the peripheral things. As you lot know, I think he joined Arsenal at the best and worst time. I say the best time because it's a long way away from when Arteta first walked through the door. The club's actually roaring again. The worst time is that we're getting a decent squad. And when he signed, you had the captain Martin Odegaard in the 10, Granit Xhaka in the 8, 65 million quid was spent on the summer on Kai Havertz to play in that 8. Odegaard still remains. And when fit, Fabio Vieira has played out wide. Now, I do find that it kind of goes, his career at Arsenal so far kind of just goes in a circular motion in that he's on the peripheral. Go back to August, he takes his opportunities in the bit part minutes he gets a start, gets injured, or he doesn't really extend that run of form, and we're back again. I like Fabio Vieira. I think there's a player in there. I think he needs to assert himself a bit more in games. I think physically, I'm not asking him to be, you know, bench pressing 200 kg and that, because, you know, Bernardo Silva isn't the biggest of composing figures in the Prem, but he don't get brushed off like Fabio Vieira. I like him a lot, but if it remains like this, he's going to be struggling for game time. And, you know, when he's on the peripheral things, where Arsenal need money, where he's not playing games, it's kind of easy to link him with moves, people. He's actually been linked with a move to Monaco, which is, you know, tax-free money, lovely way of life in the south of France, I believe, could be a decent move. Have Arsenal given up on Fabio Vieira? Liga clubs exploring loan move for Gunners misfit in January. I don't let him go in January because we need him. We're going to need all our players, whether you would sell Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, and Nketiah, Kirill, Fabio Vieira, Jorginho. Maybe I'm forcing it, but maybe even El Nene and Cedric Suarez. If we're not bringing players in, and I'm by no means fighting the case to keep Cedric Suarez at the club, if we can't bring players in, we probably need to keep bodies at least until the summer because we can't really afford any more injuries. Allegedly, Arsenal outcast, bit harsh, I wouldn't describe him as that. Fabio Vieira is reportedly attracting loan interest from a number of Liga clubs. He's struggling for minutes, people. Currently at Arsenal, the 30 million doesn't look like money well spent. And that's what Goal.com are saying, people. He's made made 13 appearances this season. Just 2 of them have been starts. And had he have been fit, he may have got more opportunities. You look at Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira. Had they have been fit when Kai Havertz, not saying he isn't struggling, but was kind of struggling, maybe Arteta would have given them opportunities. He's one of the few players that will get game time off the bench, but apparently he's attracting interest from Monaco, and one other French club have allegedly inquired about a potential loan deal for Fabio Vieira. He joined us on a permanent deal from Porto, as you know, for 35 million euros plus a potential 5 million add-ons in 2022, but he's really struggled to really assert himself, people. He has also struggled with injuries. He has recently just come back from a groin injury as well, people, and you would like to see him and Thomas Partey on the bench or play in some capacity or be available to play in some capacity Tuesday night against Nottingham Forest and moving forward. This website said sources tell us there's still a chance the player could leave in this window, especially with the return to full fitness of Arsenal fan favourite Emil Smith Rowe and new signing Kai Havertz, who has taken up Vieira's spot. It's a political signing. Arteta has to play the £65 million man. I don't give up on Fabio just yet. I think he's got one of the best final balls in the club. I do think he could be used in rotation. But again, if this persists in the summer, we'll probably have to start looking at other things, people, really and truly. Keeping up the theme with Arsenal and money, people. Allegedly, Stan Kroenke plans swing in action as 96 million Arsenal news confirmed. Every day you go on Arsenal.com or look at their social media, rightly so, we're announcing new commercial partnerships. So hopefully that money can somehow be invested into signing players. Allegedly, we increased our overall revenue by 96 million over the course of the 2022-23 season, people. So that should be all right. Hopefully there's no more FFP issues, really. So let's just keep pushing to new grounds on and off the field, people. Music to my ears, you know. Cedric Suarez could be leaving Arsenal. Allegedly, Galatasaray have targeted him. As we know, he's been linked with Besiktas. Is he being linked with Galatasaray because there's legitimate interest, or is it because Sasha Boy, a player that was linked with Arsenal and PSG, who Romano said we did not make a late move, has or looks to be joining Bayern Munich before the January deadline day? Cedric Suarez, apologies. Arsenal defender Cedric Suarez is attracting interest from Turkish giants Galatasaray. The Portuguese fullback has entered into the final 6 months of his contract at the Emirates Stadium, worth 100 grand a week, and he could leave before January's transfer window shuts next week. Besiktas are keen on Suarez, with the Turkish club now managed by Fernando Santos, who coached Cedric during his time in charge of Portugal. So that probably adds fuel to the fire. Galatasaray have also expressed an interest in Cedric, as they could be in the market for a new right back in the coming days. Sasha Boy is a target for Bayern Munich after they failed with an approach for Newcastle's Kieran Trippier. It's understood that any move for by Galatasaray for Cedric would be a permanent transfer, which would be amazing. The 32-year-old has 34 Portugal caps to his name, which is great, and has been in the Premier League since 2015 after stints with both Southampton and Arsenal, but is open to a move abroad. As we know, Arsenal have had a quiet transfer window so far, as the club are close to the limit when it comes to FFP regulations. There could be some outgoings before next Thursday's deadline, though, with Nuno Tavares, another player, attracting interest. Marseille are keen on the left-back, who is currently on loan at Nottingham Forest. Apparently, in his loan contract to Forest, there is no break clause in Nuno's loan, and that may complicate any potential deal to Marseille, who, if you read reports today, are moving towards other targets for left backs. Arsenal are open to selling Nuno Tavares, as he slipped down the pecking order in recent seasons. Probably shouldn't have bought him in the first place, people. Apparently, Arsenal and Chelsea have been offered the chance to sign Espanyol striker Martin Braithwaite, the former Barcelona man, amongst many other clubs, really. He could be available for £5 million. Let's forget about that, really and truly. I think the buck stops at a potential loan deal for Callum Wilson, if that was to be the case, people. Forget all of that. Arsenal have actually been linked with Dewsbury-Hall. We don't appear to be the front runners, but David Ornstein has said Brighton are in negotiations with Leicester over signing Dewsbury-Hall, people. So big up Brighton on that. But interestingly, in the last paragraph, among other admirers of Dewsbury-Hall are Arsenal and Fulham, though Brighton are emerging as the leading contenders at present. So I don't know what Fulham are doing, but you can rest assured maybe Arsenal have not thrown their hat into the ring for him. And I think he is a decent player. Zubimendi links won't go away. Apparently, Bayern are understood to be afraid of Arsenal potentially stealing their top target in Martin Zubimendi this summer, according to Christian Floch. He has said Martin Zubimendi is the #1 target for Bayern Munich in front of João Paulinho. He has a release clause of 60 million euros, which is why he's so interesting. Bayern Munich are pushing for him, and it's also interesting that Xabi Alonso is with the same agency. Bayern executives are watching him closely as a potential coach for the Bavarian outfit. Bayern also heard that Mikel Arteta is already talking to the player. They're both Spanish as well, which is a big advantage for Arsenal. Bayern were very sure they would lead the race for Zubimendi, but now that Arsenal are there, they're afraid of the Gunners and afraid that Mikel Arteta could take this player away, which had been a planned move for the summer. Hope we can get him to the carpet. I think he's the perfect midfielder for Arsenal, people. Once again, Arsenal have been linked with Braithwaite. I don't know why I've got that up twice. Arsenal will not pursue a January move for Callum Wilson, despite speculation linking them to the Newcastle United. Forward sources have told Football Insider throughout the week the 31-year-old Newcastle striker was linked with Chelsea as well as Manchester United. A well-placed source has told Football Insider that Arsenal are ready to keep the powder dry in January and will not sign a new forward. The Gunners are keen to add a marquee striker to their ranks in the summer window later this year as they look to become a force in English football, people. And the fact that Big Gabriel has more goals than Gabriel Jesus probably tells you why we're in this. I don't think you can realistically try and fight for a league title with Eddie Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus in charge of scoring goals, and then you've got a lot of volatility in the young Saka and Martinelli, and obviously Trossard isn't a regular like that. You get the point, people. And we lost a lot of goals with Odegaard not finding the back of the net and whatever Xhaka got in his last campaign. Not saying we shouldn't use Gabriel Jesus, but probably should. He needs to score goals. Even if we get a bad boy striker, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, they're all doing their thing. Jesus is good enough to contribute, but take away the burden of you are the goal scorer, kind of living or dying by the striker's goals, where, it's a bit like I said with Gabriel Jesus. You do everything else great, but do you bag enough? I don't know, really. Big up Jesus. I'm a big fan of his. And I'm actually a fan of Eddie Nketiah. I just think we should probably look to move you on. Kind of continuing where Zubimendi is concerned, Arsenal are more likely to sign Zubimendi in the summer. We've heard that before. So where that's concerned, hopefully, the club can pull a rabbit out of the hat in what's left of the January transfer window. Hopefully the summer we, get things right, bring in a striker, bring in a wing up, bring in a central midfielder or two, make some defensive reinforcements and actually sell players for decent money. You'd imagine in an ideal world, unless they become, part of Arteta's plans, Lokonga, Tavares, who else is there? Find a resolution over Ramsdale, Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, and there's probably several players that have missed out, people. So it is what it is. If you haven't got enough of your fix for my content, please make sure you're checking out the messages that are probably flying out over your screen throughout this, and check out the other videos. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Road to 70k subs, people, and let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed. But on that note, enjoy what's left of your morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Big up you lot for tuning in. One love.
There's always that active and defending. I think it's like